Hey, are you golfing today?
Yeah,
It's the second time this week.
but you said it was fine.
It is fine. It's perfectly fine.
Are you confused by female behavior? Wish you had a translator to understand what she means? Well, you're in luck. Introducing the Manslater, a revolutionary device that translates woman language into simple man words. Finally, the power to know what she means.
Okay, cool. Let me just check with my wife. Hey, babe, a tea time opened up later. You mind if I go?
Fine. If that's what you want to do.
No go! Stay home!
On second thought, I think I'll just stay here with you and watch The Notebook.
Aw, how sweet.
Now that's more like it. The Manslater uses emotion deciphering technology to help you out of the toughest jams.
Hey, is everything okay? You sound upset.
Why would I be upset?
Forgot anniversary, jerk!
Oh, no way! Happy anniversary, babe.
You remembered.
Come on, of course I did.
Thanks to the Manslater's patented FemLogic processing chip, now any man can decode statements like,
Are you wearing that?
You change! Now!
Hey, do you want to get some coffee?
Me want coffee!
Do you think she's pretty?
You think she prettier than me?
Aw, you're such a good friend.
Me never date you!
I'm fine.
Me not fine!
I'll be ready in 5 minutes.
Me ready 30 minutes!
Do whatever you want.
You no do what you want.
Could you rub my shoulders a little bit?
No hanky-panky, only massage. Be serious!
the Manslater even works on men. Finally, women can learn the deeper meaning of his words.
Whoa.
Your beauty is stunning.
Hey, mind if I catch a movie with the guys?
You are a lovely, wonderful woman who meets all of my needs. And even though I will miss you, this night I wish to see Death Cop 9 with my bros.
I'm fine.
I'm fine, really. Stop looking at me.
The Manslater can even be customized, with voices of real celebrities being impersonated, like Yoda,
In much trouble you are. To the doghouse go you.
or Mr. T.
I pity the fool who leaves the toilet seat up.
So get your Manslater today. Clarity is just a phone call away.
You need buy me!
Some communication can be funny or miscommunication when you think you heard something different, or you get the lyrics to the song wrong and you're singing the wrong lyrics, or you're just having fun with somebody. The problem is that a lot of times, especially nowadays, our communication is stymied. Everything is instant access, so we have all these privileges and all these distractions, from our cell phone to satellite communication to TV and computer systems that all have entertainment as well as information. And we sometimes just lose the art of talking to one another. And that's what I want to talk about tonight, is being able to communicate. Now, this isn't like communicating in front of a group or anything. This is just husband and wife, families talking, and what to do about this in the sense of being intentional. There's a poet, a writer called Thomas Carlyle, and his wife died prematurely before him. Now, this isn't in modern times, so you didn't have as many distractions, but he just felt that they didn't talk as much, especially after he lost her. He would write obituary after obituary about her because he missed her, and because he felt like he missed the opportunity to really connect, really share. And in his diary, he actually said this. He said, "Oh, that I had you yet for 5 minutes by my side, that I might tell you all." That is so telling, right? That here's someone who's articulate, someone who can communicate, but then realizes that he missed opportunities. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is to focus and be intentional about communication and opportunities. And God talks about opportunities to fellowship, not only with Him and meditate on His Word, but with the family. And maybe as a trio, you're meditating on the Word and with family and the Lord, so that you're bringing the whole thing together. It says this in Deuteronomy 6, 5 through 7. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength. And these words which I command you today shall be in your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. So God is saying, hey, these things that I've told you, think about them. So in other words, the conversation God's had, whether being into the heart or His written word, He's saying, when you do specific things, think about them. And here's specific times that you are more likely to concentrate on the things that I have told you, our communication. You can do the same thing with families, with husband and wife. So He's saying, when you're at the table, when you're having your meals, one of the best times to stop and have conversations, instead of everybody at their phone, or just simple conversation about what needs to get done, deeper conversations. When our kids were growing up, we'd eat at the dinner table. Sometimes we'd have dinner in front of a TV or something like that. But most of the time, it would be talking to one another about the day, and we would open it up to Bible discussions, which would lead to a deeper conversation of feelings, desires, what's right and wrong, character, friends, these issues that the kids were actually dealing with, rather than just topical stuff of just how your day went, which is okay, and it's a good starting point, but it's not necessarily the deeper issues. So he says, when you're seated, when you're eating, when you are walking or traveling, right? Because you tend to, your blood, if you're walking especially, your blood's pumping, you're getting a lot of oxygen to your brain, you're thinking about things, you can talk. When you're driving, listening to the radio, you need to concentrate on the road, right? But if it's a long drive, you can have great conversations. And he said, when you're laying down or getting up, like first thing, last thing in the morning, when you're still calm, when things are winding down, that's why bedtime stories are so good, right? That time where parents would sit with kids and they would read, and the kids would oftentimes ask questions, and so you'd have conversations off the book, right, so to speak. Those are great times. So to be intentional is to pick a time, not just what you're going to talk about, but a time when you can focus in on these things. And I'll tell you why, because when you are having a conversation, let's say around the dinner table, and somebody asks you a question, if you're walking out of the house, if you're ready to take a call, you're doing other things, you tend to give a quick answer, just boom, this is my feelings, this is my thoughts. But a lot of times that's not well thought out, because we're just trying to get the information back that the person's requesting, rather than if you're seated and you know you're going to be there for a little while, you can have questions that are well thought out and answers that you have been pensive on, that you've meditated on or thought about for a moment, rather than just quickly. And they're deeper conversations, right? And when you're doing that, you can have follow-up questions that give you deeper conversations. So a follow-up question that would get deeper rather than just getting information, that would make a connection with somebody, you're connecting hearts, you're connecting minds, is you would say, well, what do you think about that? Or better, what do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? And oftentimes that'll get deeper conversations going like, I feel good about that. And it reminds me, and this is why I feel good about it, because it reminds me in my childhood of this very thing. And this is something that we used to do in our family, or this is something that happened to me. And so now you've got these experiences, and what you're trying to do is get experiences that aren't just connected to events. Well, that was fun. We went to the theater. We watched some kind of movie, an Avenger movie or whatever. And it was fun, and you had that experience, but it's not a deeper contextual experience of knowing that person. It was just enjoyable entertainment that we all shared in. We shared in an event. We didn't share in each other's heart, each other's thoughts. That's why conversations with the Lord in prayer are good, right? It's part of prayer. But it's also a part of our conversation with one another. And so when we do that, we tend to ask questions, start questions about, what was your day like? Great starter, very public, very easy to answer, right? But one of the things we tend to do that short circuits sometimes, not all the times, but short circuits, what we're trying to do is build this connection. We tend to short circuit it by going negative or complaining. In other words, I'm all pent up over the day because the kids were this and that, and the dog was this and that, and the washer broke down, or this went on in the workplace, and then the person cut me off. And what happens is we're not really complaining, we're decompressing. I mean, we're not really connecting, we're decompressing, right? We're talking about the things that were bothersome, that got us wound up, but it's not good communication. It's a little bit of therapy, right? Therapeutic, I get my day out. But be careful. We're told to meditate on things that are good. We're going to get to that verse. But also James says this in James 4:11. Do not speak evil of one another, brethren. And he talks about becoming judges of one another and arbitrators of the law. The idea behind that is, if we are speaking evil of other people, that's all we're doing, and we have these negative comments to say, we're not adding to the value of everyone else. And if we all begin to play a victim, we all get to complain, we all get to commiserate with one another, then it gets to be in this barf fest, what I call. You throw up on this person, you throw up on that person, they throw up. Everybody's just throwing out their negativity and their complaints, and there's going to be some sin, there's going to be some negativity in life, right? Doesn't mean we have to wallow in it, doesn't mean we have to relive it every dinner time, or walking or driving or something like that. Not wrong to share a little bit of that and to decompress. It would be wrong if that's all that person said. If all you share is the negativity, pretty soon people, they don't want to connect. They don't want to ask the deeper question, how do you feel about that? Because they know how you feel about it, more negative. And so it has a barrier there. And if you allow a person to talk badly about someone, it can get back to them, right? Or it causes you to have a bias towards that person. The boss is always this, but you don't hate the boss, you just kind of like to complain. But that person will begin to hate the boss because they're hurting my spouse. Look what they're doing to my dad. So we got to be careful that another passage in Ecclesiastes says, Ecclesiastes 10:20, not many quotes from Ecclesiastes, huh? Should, it's an awesome book. It says, do not curse the king even in your thought. Do not curse the rich even in your bedroom. For a bird of the air may carry your voice, and a bird in flight may tell the matter. In other words, and this is where the statement, little birdie told me. Because you know what happens? You complain, you get so used to complaining. You do it in public or you do it in mixed company. and that information gets back to a person. So we got to be careful about what we say and how we say, and make sure that we don't just say something nice at the end each time, like, oh, bless their heart, oh, but they are a good boss or a good provider or a good... We do all this complaining, we kind of throw in something good to kind of balance it out. Not bueno, right? No good. So what can we do instead of that? Somebody wants to complain, it's okay to kind of complain a little bit, decompress a little bit. One of the things is to ask for solutions. Don't always come up with solutions like, well, you need to do this. Like, yeah, they're smart enough to come up with some solutions. It's just kind of, sometimes we get in a rut and we just need somebody to kind of point out, the right thing to do. Just do it. Or what would be the right thing to do? Or how could you help this situation at work, right? And so one of the ways to get in deeper conversations, because it starts talking about character, starts talking about your walk in Christ, starts talking about caring for people and who we are as individuals, that asking for the deeper solution can be very helpful. Not always, but it can be. Or change the subject and go, well, what happened good at school today? What one thing blessed you today? And sometimes we'd have to deploy this. I'd have to deploy this at the dinner table. Either they would have to deploy it to me, because sometimes you get into that rut, right? But oftentimes I'd have to share that and just go, well, tell me one good thing that happened at school. Did you meet a new person? Did you get to see an old friend? Did you get to share the gospel? Tell me something good that happened today. And oftentimes you'll get the story, and then you'll get, well, why'd you share that? Why was that a good story? And then you'll get the heart, you'll get the background, you'll get to know the person. And that's deeper communication, isn't it? When you get to know the person. There's a passage in Matthew 8:15 that talks about, moreover, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his faults between you and him alone. If he hears you, you have gained your brother. Well, why do I bring this up? Two things, because one, if that person needs to go, if they've got a real grief against someone, they need to go talk to that someone. You need to encourage that. But also, if you're going to correct, like you're a parent at the table and you're going to correct them, be gentle about it. And if it's something that's going to be embarrassing, you go to them alone. Even if it's a family issue, you talk to them alone, right? Unless it's really causing rebellion or destruction or harm in the family, pull them aside later on and talk to them in the living room or some other place where you can, correct them. These are one of the things that keeps the communication going, so that somebody feels that they can share at the dinner table or share when they're driving or walking, that they don't feel like they're going to get jumped on. Because if you do that, that'll just implode communication, won't it? What to communicate? Things that build up. You probably already have a verse in mind. I'm going to read it. Philippians 4:8. Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of a good report, positive. If there's any virtue, if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. And when you meditate, it shouldn't just stay inside of you, it should be able to come out. So this is something that I think the parents or a spouse, let's say you're not, you don't have kids yet. This is the same thing with your spouse, right? Say something positive, especially if it's on the onset of the communication. If you can say something praiseworthy, virtuous, good report, you know what I heard today, you know what I saw today that was awesome, that draws people in. They want to hear that because you want your spirit lifted, right? There's enough negativity out there. There's enough garbage out there that we get hit with. If somebody says, oh, I watched this funny video, or I watched something, or I heard something, or I got this praise report, or I got an answer to prayer, oh, well, do tell, right? Give me that. Because our heart yearns for that. Our heart is wicked too, so it also yearns for gossip. But if we get the conversation going right, that is the good direction. That's a good icebreaker. And then just asking the other person, not just how they're doing, but how they feel, how they think about certain things, what they would change, what they would do. These conversations, like if you talk about the weather, ask them something like, where would you, if you could choose anywhere to live according to the weather, where would you live? See, that's a different way of looking at things. And then you go, why would that be? You know, I live in the Arctic or Alaska, so like some of these people, I'm like, no way, man. I'm not living below zero most of the year. It's just not going to happen with me. I'd freeze to death. So you want the home as a place that's reinforced that it's safe to share and that it's a positive experience. And if it's a positive experience, then they're going to be more open to share and to talk and to bring. Sometimes they won't be able to wait for dinner time or for the traffic. Hey, I want to talk. I want to share. Can I ask you a question? Even before these things happen, even before the food sometimes is on the table, we'd have these deep conversations. Also, one of the ways I want to talk about is how you end a conversation. Try to end a conversation on a good note. Even if somebody's been decompressing, there's hard things. I love the greetings in the Middle East. The peace be with you, brother. The may God be with you. May God bless you. May, instead of goodbye or see you later, sup, you know. And we just give these kind of casual things. And I know those could be kind of mundane. They don't really wish a blessing on you. It's just kind of a thing. But don't let your last words be to a person something that would haunt them if you never get to talk again. Right? So if you say, well, you know, till next time maybe we can talk about this and there can be reconciliation or forgiveness or whatever. Leave it at least like, but I love you. You know, I may be upset with you, but I love you. I want you to know I love you, right? Those are, even in difficult times, this is so healing and so much of a blessing that you leave on some kind of positive note. Don't let your last word be some kind of criticism, some kind of shot at them, some kind of rebuke, right? Some type of put down. And some families, put downs are a way of saying I love you, right? But I think in there, even in those families, because those families do fight a lot, sometimes it comes to fist fights because sometimes those things are taken personally. Make sure there's an I love you. Make sure that they know how you feel. So just wrapping it up, this last part, remember that the home is one of those places where you should always be receiving some kind of positive reinforcement, right? Encouraging reinforcement. Leave a person with a good word. Something that keeps the connection open, right? Which is part of the very last point I want. If you tell somebody, man, I enjoyed spending time. Man, I enjoy this time with you. Oftentimes we don't say that. But that is so heartwarming to a spouse, to a family. I so enjoy when you guys ask those questions. Man, I love, your growth. I love your intelligence. I love how you think about people. I love how, if you leave it with an encouraging word and a blessing on them, that ability and that openness for future conversations, especially among family, is going to be there. And it's going to open up and blossom like some beautiful flower or rose. So This is a real quick video. I just thought let's make it a little bit shorter, a little bit more concise. I love these video intros. They're hilarious. Some are very touching, but they get the conversation started, don't they? And so, hey, until the next time we get together, and for some of the church, you know, maybe you're not a part of our church, but hey, I love you. And you can connect with us at crossfellowship.org. And if you are a part of our church, and because of COVID-19 we haven't seen you for a while, just want you to know I miss you. There's a lot of people out there that we haven't connected face to face. I know that we're getting lots of downloads, but it's not the same as being together, right? I understand for now, but just want you to know we miss you. All right? God bless. Till next time, this is Pastor Scott signing off.